Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how I think you can win the Sorare Global Cup. The winner of the Sorare Global Cup gets an all-inclusive paid holiday to go play football with Zidane. That is absolutely nuts, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the link in the description and I suggest watching this video. So where to start? I guess the best place is by looking at my team. On screen now you'll see the team that I've drafted, and this is by no means the final product, but it's a great example of some of the points I want to teach you that will help make your selection better and give you a better shot at winning the league. I know this because I've been playing the most populated division on Sorare for, as long as possible really, and I've had great success in it. On top of that, why would I share this? Well, simply there's so much randomness in football, there's so many people competing in this, there will be large amounts of luck in it, so this doesn't dampen my chances at all really. So looking at the team, first thing you want to identify is who is going to be your absolute SO5, your top scoring player that you're going to facilitate in your budget. For me, I've actually pushed it to two players, Messi and Neymar. The key point with Messi and Neymar is not the fact that they're just going to, score loads of goals or get loads of assists. On top of what you want to build is this AA score. It's something kind of unique to Sorare where it benefits players for not just your decisive actions, not just your goals and assists, taking on players, passes, making chances. All of these actions will be added to your AA score. And what's key about this is it's so much easier to add to your AA score after a decisive than it is to add, 3, 4, 5 decisives. That's near impossible most games, right? But, making loads of passes and making advances into the final third of the pitch is possible every single game. Now, I'm not going to tell you who I think you should select in this position because it's completely up to you. Who do you think's got a good chance of winning the World Cup? That's a good start. Who's going to be their focal point? And then you can go on Sorare data and identify some people that have good AA scores. For example, Harry Kane's probably going to be the focal point of England. Not only do I think England probably aren't going to win the World Cup, but his AA score just isn't there. And an out-and-out striker typically does not have good AA score. Erling Haaland put up one of the best scores we'll ever see in the Premier League in terms of goals per game, and he still wasn't really rocking with Messi, who was putting up lower numbers, but because he had stronger AA, who's putting up better scores on Sorare. I would actually suggest where you can, if you want to take this plunge, is putting two people into the team. Now this does require your sub-spence to be absolutely wiped out with players that aren't going to play. So it's high risk. If you get an injury to one of your cards, you aren't winning the Global Cup. It is that simple. But it's high risk, high reward. It doesn't matter if you finish 300th on this game, right? It is about finishing in the top 100. It doesn't matter if you finish 300 or 3,000 at that point, right? It is 100 or bust, essentially. Once you've identified who you want as your kind of one or two main focal points, those are the players that everyone's going to be picking, right? Your Kimmiches, your Messis, your Neymars, they're the top scorers, they're going to take the most points. After that is where you start differentiating yourself from the competition. Because this game isn't about getting the most points. This is about getting more points than every other single person playing the game. And why that's important is because if everyone's picking Messi and Messi does an awful World Cup and barely scores any points, you're already going to be in the top half. But of course, that gamble I've seen far too often is that people take out the best players to try and outsmart the system when really the top players are the top players for a reason, right? So I'm not fading the top players. I'm making my differences in the alternative positions. You can make good alternative steps in defence and in the goalkeeper position for me. The reason, you can get cheap alternatives quite good, and there's easier strategies for me. So in goal, I have Kasper Schmeichel of Denmark. I think Denmark can make it to the last 16, and once you're in the last 16, you get an extra 4 cards. So that will help you where I maybe can pick up a card that's going to be a bit more solid at the back and pick up clean sheets against bigger teams later in the stages of the competition. So why I've picked a goalkeeper now that isn't as strong, it isn't Alisson, it isn't Martinez. The reason for that is that in Sorare, you get a lot of points from making saves. So what you want, the clean sheet is absolutely crucial, don't get me wrong. But on top of that, you want your keeper making a lot of saves. You want them really busy. You don't want an Alisson at Liverpool where he keeps a clean sheet, but often he doesn't face a shot. In order to win this, you need to differentiate yourself with what I would call a weak defense, strong goalkeeper, and I think that's what Denmark is for me. I think they've got the chance to keep clean sheets, and if they do, their keeper will be making a lot of saves. He'll be having good games. He'll be making keeper smothers and getting more AA points to add to that. Our then next position is defender, which also I've highlighted as a place you can make up a bit of ground on your opposition. And for me, it's really simple. you have to go for, you don't have to, but the best option, if possible, is a cheap wing back that's going to get attacking returns. The reason for this is that on Sorare, if you're blasting past people in terms of taking on people and making crosses, getting potential assists, right, those are all scored. They're scored really well. And on the odd chance you do get a decisive, you're 100 capable. The top score is 100, it's out of 100 essentially. So you would be 100 capable. Examples of this would be Trent if he plays for England. Tagliafico if he plays for Argentina. There's so many of them. Dumfries for Netherlands, even though he just got injured. So Frimpong, so many different options. So go out and find one that you think can have a really good chance of, putting up these decisives. We've seen it in the Euros with someone like Gozons of Germany. He just went on an absolute monster run. Same as Spinazzola for Italy. Those are the type of players you want to target. Yes, it's difficult, but if you've got a secret that you don't think many people know about, that is your best chance to do something. Then we have the midfield position, and this is the hardest position for me and potentially the biggest weakness of my team right now. So Aurelien Tchouameni is an absolutely fantastic player, but because he moves from some games being defensive to some games being in the middle of midfield to some games being in the attacking midfield, it's very difficult to know how he's going to score. Ideally, what you want this position to be is a central attacking mid. Why that is? Gets lots of chance for your decisive actions, your goals, assists. But on top of that, he's creating a lot of chances. And if there's anything I've taught in this video, creating chances, taking on players are really where you get key AA points. Now, of course, if this doesn't transpire into decisives, you wasted your own time. So you do need them to be setting up good scorers. So this is where you're looking for someone that's, not only taking on players, but it's got a clinical finisher in front. This would be someone like England, right? If they've got Harry Kane up top, find whoever you think is going to be feeding him all the goals this competition. Someone like Spain, I think Pedri's fantastic. He'll be taking on opposition. He'll be knocking the ball in. Is Morata good enough to finish them off? That's up for you to decide. Like I said, I'm not telling you which team to support. I'm not telling you which players to pick. I'm telling you the strategy on how I think you can win it. Another example maybe would be Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, fantastic AA. He's feeding Lukaku. Is Lukaku fit enough? Is he good enough to be putting away those chances right now? That's up for you to decide. But to conclude, where you can, identify who you think is going to be the player of the tournament, right? He's got to be attacking, he's got to have strong AA game, which means he's taking on players, creating chances, passing the ball, effectively involved in as much of the football as he can be. Ideally, I'm going to push for 2, and I would suggest you can do the same, but of course that limits your budget. Where you make your budget up is a goalkeeper and a defender who's attacking. Essentially a wing back, right? So your goalkeeper, ideally they need to be keeping clean sheets, but you need your goalkeeper to be busy. And then alternatively, your wing back needs to be always taking on players. I'm thinking of someone like Hakimi from Morocco. He's always up the pitch. He's on free kicks. If you can identify a free kick taker wing back, that is the absolute dream territory. The only problem with Hakimi is he's in a slightly weaker team. So of course, you need to think, how far do you think Morocco can go? Because the only chance you get is 4 more players once they reach the round of 16. And your tournament could be over if you've not had enough good opposition actually reach there. The final thing I want to add, which I haven't touched on yet, is mini stacks. So it's a lot easier to back one team to do really well or 2 teams to do really well than to have 5 teams from independent countries. So if you can partner up, say Messi and Martinez, who are going to link up quite frequently for Argentina, I think that's beneficial where possible. The same for Neymar and Vinny Jr. Now I do criticise myself because of course on this screen I have Neymar and Messi who do not sync up. But for me, and this is only my draft, those 2 are so essential to their teams that if they are going far, they will be at the heart of it and they will be worth their very expensive price tag. I've still got a lot of decision making to do on my team, but I hope this helps you think about your team, because average scorers that put up nice scores but consistently, they're not who you're looking for. You need those killers that are just going to be there and just, maybe they go on a hot run of form, right? Think of James Rodriguez in the World Cup now. He was at the focal point of everything that was going through Colombia. He went on a massive run. Yes, it didn't last forever, but it lasted for the World Cup. It is only a month. Players can go on heaters for that long. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. I've tried to put out as best educational, helpful, as entertaining content as I can. And yeah, besides that, all the best to you. Good luck. Cheers.